Well, I am extra glad that you're here today to help me celebrate my birthday. As of this upload anyway. And what better way to celebrate my birthday than by doing a review? In this case, it's going to be of the Transformers Siege Wave 2 Deluxe Chromia. She will be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and to the birthday edition of the True Review. I am your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course subscribe. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is Siege Chromia. And what a better way to celebrate my birthday than taking a look at this figure. I actually wanted her the most out of Wave 2. Why? Because she is a character that I didn't have. I had somebody standing in for her, and we'll see who that is in a little bit. But the last time that we had a release of this character in the Generations line, I missed out on it because that wave never came here. So I'm really kind of stoked to take a look at her today with you guys. Of course, we're going to grade her as we always do, and we're going to answer that burning question for the Siege line. Is she guilty or innocent of her price increase? So without any further ado, let's head over to the table and take a closer look at this bot. Is there any better way for me in particular to celebrate my birthday than to do a review, especially of a character that I missed the first time around because when she was released in the Generations line with RC, that wave did not come here first nor last. So I was actually kind of really happy to have the opportunity to get a proper Chromia because I've been using a stand-in now for many years. Namely, the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters RC, who I looked at in episode 235. Why did I use her? Well, because the other version of Chromia that we got was really a remold of this motorcycle mold, and since that never came here and this RC was blue and I managed to find a copy of the Generations RC who stood as my, you see where this is going, she's blue, so she became my stand-in for Chromia because I never had an official Chromia. Not until today! So now you can see kind of my history of Chromia, and I was really looking forward to getting this wave specifically for her so that I would have an official version of that character. And is she good, bad? Well, we're about to find out. And remember, besides for doing our usual scores, she will go through the guilty or innocent treatment. Let's begin by taking a look at her packaging first. And her packaging is your standard Siege box. It is unnecessary. It should have been a card back to save on packaging and materials. Surely this is more expensive. Making an entire box is certainly more expensive than a card back. I'm sure it added a little bit to the price, and we didn't need that. As I have established many times before, we have regular kind of Siege art on the side. We have the products on the back, and over here you'll notice that we have art of Chromia. And look how clean she looks. No kibble on the legs, no kibble on the back. It would be lovely if this is exactly what we could have had, but naturally, because there has to be an alt mode, we're going to get kibble. She also comes with glorious, beautiful, fantastic instructions, perhaps the best instructions I've seen in a decade. You will notice that her blaster and really her silencer, I'll call it, as well as her two grenades can all be put together a la this image here to make one huge super blaster, I suppose, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Of course, in lieu of the ever popular collector card, this time around we have accessory stats, and in this case up top we have her holding her little grenades. She comes with two of them, we'll see them shortly. They have a lot of power, but the other stat numbers are pretty low for it. Down below that we have her blaster. These have names, you know, you can see that for yourself. It's got pretty good firepower and accuracy. The fire blast is a little lower on it. And then right down bottom, there is a picture of something that does not have any stats. It is the kind of front part of her blaster. I'm pretty sure it's just a silencer because it's called a hush something or other, whatever. I think it's the silencer that goes on her blaster. Speaking of her accessories, here they are. She comes with not one but two of these little grenades. You'll notice there's a little rectangular tab by my thumb. I'm also holding on to what is essentially a 5mm peg. And this little beauty is her blaster. The dark blue is the blaster. The light blue, almost white on camera here, I think, but it is light blue, like a powder blue, is the silencer. You will notice that there's a little cutout notch right there. The silencer has a little rectangular piece on the bottom, so you can take it off, and you can attach it on the top like that if you are so inclined. What about placement of these accessories? Well, in this mode, robot mode, there's a lot of things you can do. You can have the blaster in her hand, and you can put the little grenade pieces back here, kind of by the back tires. They're on the rear fenders. There's 5mm holes there. You can take the rectangular peg that's on each of the grenades, and it fits in the 5mm slot. It's putting a rectangular peg into a round hole, but it works. Or you could make use of the 5mm peg that's on that back fender and put her blaster there and take her grenades and put them into hexagonal ports down on her shins, calves, whatever. The little grenade things don't fit there as well. You also have the option of putting the grenade pieces on her forearms, and you can see sticking up behind is the silencer. That's in the kind of hole that's in the windshield section that's on her back. But that hole is real loose. Like, all I have to do is this, and it falls right down. It looks like this. See, nothing to get excited about. Were you keeping count of our pegs this time? Well, we have 2 in these fenders. We have 2 on her forearms. That's 4. We have 2 on her lower legs. That's 6. 2 on the bottom of her feet. That's 8. And of course, the 1 in the clear plastic on her back. That's 9. So she should be able to get all cogged up and look like this. So yes, she can get cogged up, but it's really precarious keeping her stood up. I'm going to try and show her around, but don't be surprised if she falls over, because she's already very back heavy. So when you put the backpack of cog on her, it's really too much weight, and it doesn't particularly fit. Like, it fits, but that's a loose 5mm socket. The extra big cog feet do give her a bit of stability, but her ankles are done in such a way that they're really too weak to hold all of this weight. And her hips are too weak to hold all of this weight. This is the first time that I can say that I've cogged up a figure and I feel like a lot of the joints are too weak for it. I sort of griped that Prowl had weak joints, and he does on his hips a little bit, but I now feel a lot better about those and don't feel like they're nearly as weak, considering how precarious she's standing up here. That being said, while this is possible, and it does add the play value, there's no doubt about it, maybe she even fares better with 6-gun, who knows. The fact of the matter is, the fact that she can do it at all is impressive. So how about we kick off this celebration by finally giving Chromia some scores. First, for her paint apps. Like, all the blues are there, like, the white is there, the red is there, it's just not quite accurate. Like, on her, kind of, like, I guess, tummy, maybe it's lower chest, there should be an Autobot symbol, and there should be a couple of little red highlights down on her hips. There are red highlights here, but they're not quite in the right spot. Her head is a pretty good sculpt, though the eyes are kind of lifeless. There's a lot of paint there, and it's pretty accurate. Like, if you know Chromia, you will probably guess that this is Chromia. Needless to say, she has a lot of extra kibble. That's almost unavoidable. Her legs, her kneecap should be like I call it the darker blue, and then like her shin and calf should be the lighter blue, and her foot should be completely white. In other words, she shouldn't have blue toes, or blue heels for that matter. Her forearms, they're supposed to be a little bit of a different color as well. Like her hands are supposed to have white sort of on the back of them. I think around her elbows is supposed to be the dark blue, and then her forearm is supposed to be like the light blue. So like there are certain allowances made here for the color. I know who it is. It's definitely stylized. It's about a 7. It's about a 7. It could have been done more accurate than what it is. It's not bad. You know who it is. But I think that they still have room for improvement. What about her articulation? I would like to say that her articulation is fabulous, but it's not. It's just not. Here's the thing. I really like the Moonracer and the Novastar version of like the mold that this is based on. Like that's the mold that came first. It got retooled and remolded in order to give us this. I think the earlier use was better. Now, not that this is using same parts or same engineering. There's a lot here that's changed. It is definitely a new mold, but a lot of the tricks that were used earlier on are still used here. Just not as well. Articulation, well, we have a head. It can go left and right. It can look up and down, but when we look up, if you look up too far, although she does look back a lot, if you keep pushing back, you'll expose a hole here, but like she looks up a lot without it. So I'll give her that. The arms can go all the way up, assuming that you kind of get it out of the way of the like back kibble. It can go all the way around. We have an elbow, we have a bicep swivel, we have wrists that can go in like that. We do have a waist, but it's really unusable because of the way everything is kind of put together here. The arms can also go well out to the side like that. She can do the splits, I guess, out to about here, but like it's not strong, as you can see. She can go forward, all right. But I feel like this front skirt is sort of a hindrance and in the way. Here's the funny part. I don't know why it's there. I don't know the purpose of it, but I do know that it likes to pop off a lot. She can go, see, it just popped off then. She can go forward. She can go back to about there. We have a thigh swivel. We have a knee, but you got to get this out of the way to get it to 90 degrees. I guess you can push it back like that then. The ankles, like, I respect what they were trying to do with the ankles. I don't think it worked out well. They can go in a lot, which I respect, and they can go forward a fair amount, and they can go back a lot. But, like, it's not that strong, and there are little tiny feet. You'll notice that I just popped this waist piece off. I don't know why they just didn't leave it. I guess leave it? Maybe? I don't know. I mean, if I put it back on, I guess I can. It just, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would you have a piece? Is the point of it to pop off? I don't understand what I'm seeing. Now, that being said, if I'm being a nice guy and being fair, she can pull off a few decent poses. Nevertheless, because we have to move the kibble on the side of the leg to get a knee bend, because that seemingly useless waist piece likes to pop off, because the arms can't go all the way around without hitting the kibble, because, you know, pushing her head up might expose another slot that's used in vehicle mode. Like, because of all of these little things, because she has a waist that you can't really use here, because of all this, at best, I can give her articulation a 7. That's the best I can give it. So she has a 7 for paint depth and a 7 for articulation. What about the transformation? Maybe that'll be fantastic, right? Right? Not holding my breath. Okay, let's get into the transformation, shall we? We begin by bringing the arms up over. And we'll just leave them like that for now. We can come down and flip up her toes and flip around these pieces on the side of her leg. We can then come to the back and begin to open those pieces out, and we'll pick off the, I don't know what we call this, canopy, I suppose. And we're going to bring that all the way down there. Now, up under the canopy here, there's a blue section that we should bring out now. It likes to pop off. It's not pinned. Now, this whole blue section here will come down. There's a little rectangular slot there and a little notch there. There's a little tooth that goes into that notch and another little rectangular peg that goes up there. I'm going to try and get all of that together. As well, there's teeth on the feet and they should tab together. The feet do not like to stay tabbed together at all. And we'll try bringing this down over and notching it into position at least as best as we can do it. There. You heard it sort of snap into place. Okay, so that's where we're to. Now you have to bring all of that down so that you can do this. See what I mean? We do have a waist swivel. It just wasn't really usable in robot mode. This one's not quite pegged in correctly. There. Okay, now we can bring these pieces up. They're the rear fenders. And we can, it says you're supposed to turn the head around and then flip it back. I just flip it back. I'm not turning it around. I've heard it get stuck. Then we can angle this down. It's supposed to clip in. It's there, but it doesn't really clip in. Same on the other side. Yeah, I guess it does clip in, but loosely. And then you put up the wrists, fists, whatever you want to call them. And really, boom, in the end, here we have her in her alt mode. There's a couple of like places for her accessories to go, because with the Moonracer and the Novastar version of this mold, we had a piece of prime armor that we would put into basically this hole here and would kind of cover the gappiness in the back of the vehicle. We don't have that this time. But here's what we do have. If our goal is to try and increase the animation accuracy, then we can best accomplish that by first using our two little grenade pieces. I said earlier that there's like a 5mm peg. Well, that has a hole in it. And there are two little slots, they're hidden away. Like when you flip her head back, they expose themselves. It looks like you could put blast effects there. Or you can put these pieces on over, and you can put one right there, and you can take the other grenade, and it fits on right there. If you still want to use blast effects, the tips of the grenades here will take them. Then you can take her blaster. Now I said earlier how you can take off the silencer piece, and it can go on top and notched in. Now, using that hole that we exposed right here, you can either have this face forward, or you can do what I think is the better idea and have it face back. I believe facing back is more animation accurate. The transformation, it's not bad. Like, getting everything to tab in can be a little bit of a nuisance. Realizing that there's a waist swivel that's unusable is just, it's irritating. It's almost like a slap in the face every time you do the conversion, because it should have been engineered better. I'm going to say that her conversion is also a 7. I'm going to say that she is a 7 across the board. Hardly a standout, even though I'm glad to add her to my own personal collection. The Autobot resistance that was on Cybertron from that one episode in season 1, maybe? No, season 2, I guess. I guess it was season 2. And right now we're missing only Greenlight and Lancer. Greenlight's coming. And Greenlight does combine. Give me one more. Give me a Lancer. Give me a Lancer that combines. And maybe I'd actually be in for Alita and her team combining, with Chromia sort of offering herself as backup since she can't combine. So Chromia, you were getting a 7. And your transformation has a couple of fiddly pieces, like that waist piece likes to pop off when you look at it funny. I don't even know why that waist piece is there. I can figure out no reason for it. If somebody knows, hey, let me know. Your head sometimes likes to get stuck. I don't know, like the transformation's all right, but I don't find it as smooth as the earlier use of the mold for Moonracer or Novastar. So I'm going to say that the transformation here is about, again, it's about a 7. Overall, Chromia is a 7. She is hardly the standout. Is she, however, guilty or innocent of the price increase? Well, she does have some beautiful extra molded detail, and admittedly, though all the white on her is paint, as is, I think, some of the blue. But is it enough? When we're actually looking at dollar for dollar amount with materials, she clocks in at 64 grams in all, as opposed to Moonracer's 76 grams. And Novastar is also 76 grams. So you're getting less plastic with Chromia. Now here's a case of a character that I wanted to add to my collection, who I'm really happy to add to my collection. But objectively speaking, because subjectively I'm glad to have her. Objectively speaking, however, she's a 7 at best, with a few niggling little problems that have to do with the way that she was designed, as well as the fact that you are literally getting less plastic with her. I have to say that, is she guilty or innocent of the price increase? She is absolutely 100% guilty. Happy birthday to me! And here we are once again, and here she is, and she's sort of an abysmal disappointment, if I'm being honest. I mean, I'm glad to have her. As a fan of the franchise, this is just one of those characters that was sort of quintessential and has sort of developed her own following as the years have passed. Probably because of her association with Ironhide. I don't know. But right now, we have a little bit better, I guess, than half the team with her release. A little bit better than half the team from the Autobot Resistance, the female Autobot Resistance on Cybertron. You know, we're just missing the Lancer and Greenlight. Like I said, I can't wait to get Greenlight. I assume we're going to get a Lancer at some point. It would be a shame to have her be the odd bot out, so to speak. Could this have been done better? Honestly, if they just hadn't have had these pieces down here, like just leave kind of these pieces as the bottom of the foot so that the foot was bigger, maybe. I don't know. Like, I think they changed too much from the mold that this is based on, and I get why they did it. They were trying to be fresh, and it's trying to be a new mold, and it is a new mold. It just sort of shares ideas and engineering with that earlier mold. It doesn't share parts. But I think that in trying to change too much, they almost didn't change enough, if that makes sense. She is great at being average, but that's all she's ever going to be. And because she's just average at best, and that's me being generous because I wanted the character, I can't justify an extra $10 increase, even with her added accessories. Because even with her added accessories, she clocks in at less plastic than her contemporaries. And indeed, when she is next to him, she is shorter. But her backpack is just as huge. Anyway, I'm glad to have her. But so far in Wave 2, Prowl was guilty of being overpriced. And she's guilty of being overpriced. Will things improve as we move forward? Well, we'll find out. But for now, I think I'm going to take off, see what sort of presents I get for my birthday, have some cake, and in the meantime, I appreciate you dropping by and giving me some of your very valuable time, and I very much look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.